Section 9.1 to 9.3, Simplifying Exponents, Part 3. Have fun.
So we're going to do something a little different now. Suppose you're a math teacher and you've just taught a lesson on exponents. After a student finishes 4 problems, the student asks you to review some of the problems that he did. So you need to look over the problems and correct any mistakes that he had made. So we're going to look at this a little differently. So I'm going to look at the original problem here. 4a squared b to the 5th, all divided by 2a to the 6th b squared. So I'm just going to follow his thought process, and that's the hardest thing to do, is follow somebody else's thought process. So the first thing he did was break up and put his coefficients and then his a's and b's, just like we've done in class. So 4 divided by 2, you can see that he just rewrote that. A squared divided by a to the 6th, he rewrote, and b to the 5th b squared, he rewrote. So we have all this broken down with the multiplication shown so that you can clearly see the difference. So 4 divided by 2, if I look to the right, so do you see how I keep looking to the right? He has 2. Well, 4 divided by 2 is 2. And then my next one is the a squared divided by a to the 6th. And he said, which I'm questioning because I'm checking it, is a to the 4th. Well, let's look at this. So this is called the quotient of powers property because I'm dividing 2 powers that have the same base. So in expanded form, I have a times a in the numerator, and in the denominator, I have a multiplied 6 times. So when I play my whoosh, 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 and all that for common factors, I can see that 1a will cancel with 1a in the numerator with 1a in the denominator. Same thing, second a in the numerator with second a in the denominator. And then I have no further a's left in the numerator. I'm only left with the factor of 1 that still remains. So my numerator has turned to a 1, but I still have the a to the 4th in the denominator. So technically, a squared divided by a to the 6th leaves me, 6, leaves me 1 to a to the 4th. And he wrote just straight a to the 4th, which implies that the 4 a's that are left are in the numerator, because that would be a to the 4th divided by 1. Are 4 of those a's left in the numerator? And hopefully looking back at the original expression, you could say, no, they're left in the denominator. So he made an error right here. So there's an error that occurred because of his quotient of quotient of powers property. Error in that. And then the next one, it says b to the 5th divided by b squared. So again, in expanded view, let's delete out of this. So let's erase some of this so that we can get the b in there as well. So the b to the 5th divided by b squared leaves me with 5 b's being multiplied in the numerator, 2 b's left in the denominator. So that means that 2 of these b's in the numerator would cancel with 2 in the denominator. So that would leave me how many b's? 3 b's in the numerator, but a single factor of 1 in the denominator. And we can rewrite that as just b cubed. So he did get this one right. So that's correct, and the 2 is correct. That a to the 4th is where his error occurred. So I can just circle that and say error with a to the 4th term. So then I know tomorrow, looking over your notes, that you were clear. Now, what happens if he made an error somewhere else? Well, I have to show you all the errors that occurred so that I can help that student learn to know where he was moving in the correct direction and where he made a error and how to fix that. So the final answer should have been 2b cubed all divided by a to the 4th, because that a to the 4th needs to be in the denominator. So now in the next slide, you're going to have 3 problems. You're going to still suppose that you're the math teacher, so you need to find errors. Remember, maybe 1 error occurred, maybe 2, 3 errors occurred. You have to point those out, and maybe no error occurred. So you're just checking to say if it's right, if it's wrong, and what that student did inaccurately. So here are the 3 that you're going to do. Move from left to right on all of these problems and tell me where the errors occurred. I should see this written in your notes. On your notes under video 3, it does have worked example, which is the one I just did for you, but it has a B and a C and a D. You're going to fill in the problem and then go through and circle where the error occurred, what the correct solution should have been. Remember, I grade homework for completion not for accuracy. So if I see that you followed through with the worked example and have it all written down, and you worked as close as you could on your checkpoint, getting it as far as you could, and then you just couldn't do anything more, didn't know where to go, that still gives you 100 for homework. So again, homework is graded for completion, not for accuracy. So be very careful on that you still have the motivation to complete your homework, and then we can talk about the accuracy tomorrow in class.